This is the Good Governance Radio.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Let's go.
This is your radio, your station.
GGR, Good Governance Radio.
All right, good morning and welcome to today's edition of our program, Speak Out on Good Governance Radio. We want to sincerely apologize for coming a little bit behind schedule. It was due to some technical issues, and of course, we couldn't bring to you the headlines from the newspapers. Please, we want to sincerely apologize that hopefully on Monday, we'll go back to our normal routine. Once again, welcome to today's edition, the last edition of this particular program, today being Friday, the last day of the week. And we are here to take a look at some of the boiling issues right here in Nigeria. My name is Chris Bassi, and of course, I'm not alone in the studio. I have my two co-partners right here in the studio with me.
In the words of Cyrus Palonji, he said, and I quote, is I'm not looking for board positions because where I sit doesn't matter if equity and fairness rules. Welcome to Good Governance Radio. Speak out to be precise this morning. I remain Ebere Chidera.
My name still remains Tony Ayodele. Welcome to the program.
All right, that's the voices of Tony Ayodele and of course, Ebere right here in the studio. And this morning we have very, very boiling issues that has to do with the policy, the security of Nigeria, of course, the economy of Nigeria. Of course, we are here to dwell on that extensively, and you can join our conversation with us on 0913 023 6602. Once again, 0913 023 6602. You can also stream live at www.ggr.com.ng. And of course, our YouTube channel is at Good Governance Radio. On Facebook, you can join us live at Good Governance Radio right there on Facebook. Of course, send your contribution in the course of the program. I'll be glad to read them out. And today, without taking much of your time, without further ado, let's get straight up to the business of the morning. We're looking at it was a kind of excitement for a lot of Nigerians after 13 years of this particular bill being on the table of the National Assembly. Yesterday, it was finally passed, and the much talked about PIB bill, talking about the much talk about PIB, talking about the petroleum industry bill have finally been passed to law. And of course, the last step of it is probably for the president to assent it, and of course that will be all for it. But then it's something that has been on for a very long time, 13 years down the line. And I think when the Senate president a few weeks ago came out to say that in just 2 weeks, that particular bill will become a thing of the past, at least. A lot of us didn't take him serious, but then they've kept to their words. And of course, the PIB, is definitely something that is becoming an history in terms of all the delays and the politics of it all. Ebere, quickly, let me have your take on this passage before we even go into the integrity. Of course, what does Nigeria stand to benefit, and why the delay all these years before this bill finally see the green light yesterday?
Talking about the reason for the delay, political interest, selfishness. I heard the voice of, I also saw him live talking about James Manager, one of the senators from Delta State. on the floor, digging it out with the colleagues when the issue of 3%, I know will be coming to the benefit to the host communities and all that. Now, it has been a case of people being deprived of their heritage, and some people insisting and sitting at certain level to say no, even though this is due to you, we won't let you have it. That gave a lot of powers to NNPC as a central regulating body, and I don't know if we can actually say that they have been perfect in the discharge of their duties. Then talking about 13 solid years of battle, it will be on record that the Ninth Assembly engaged their conscience, engaged humanity, engaged the Constitution and the interest of all Nigerians, and that of expectation according to international practices, to say, hey, it is time. But once more, I ask, why are we? The Senate president said, and I quote, that he was in a hurry to pass that bill because of the benefits we have lost over the years. And my question to them and every other person that might have in one way or the other frustrated is, why did we suddenly become in a hurry at a time when other countries are already unleashing alternative to fossil fuels? And in the next 7 years, whatever we think we are getting from crude oil will drastically drop, because possibly only the aviation fuel will be on high demand. And don't forget that we have also experienced the test running of electric, no, not electric car, and a solar powered aircraft, even though it couldn't go far. And just yesterday, we witnessed another milestone where a BMW powered flying car completed 35 minutes flight between two airports and landed efficiently. Now, even though it was powered with the conventional fuel, but before you know it, as the world is moving towards renewable energy, they will also think in that direction. So far so good. We congratulate them and we appreciate their effort in making it a possibility.
Tony, what's your take? The excitement, is it worth it, or are we just trying to blow it out of proportion at this point in time?
Well, our politicians, when there is time for them to get the support of the people, at least this is not, they will not want to say their President Robert Stamp, that whenever the president brings to the table, they just approve. This has been on the table since almost 17 years.
2013.
Before then, because that's been there. But to me, it's not something, it's supposed to be a thing of shame that it took us so long, like a bill said, with political interest, something that will benefit common Nigerians. That it took up to the Ninth Assembly for 4 years for this to pass. Even when it was supposed to pass yesterday, you can still see the drama that play out. So I believe that, I think there are times that things that want to benefit the National Assembly or the politician, under 2-3 years, first reading, second reading, it will be passed. But I believe it's because we believe in one source of income, which is the oil. And because it affects that area, everybody has interest. I mean, well, good luck. I believe that there are two things about it: pass, signed by the president, and execution. That will be what we are waiting for. So for them to execute what is being agreed in the PIB is another thing that we have to look into.
All right, execution is another thing. We all know that this is not the first time that bills such as this will scale through and of course becomes law, but then the masses probably wouldn't felt the impact of some of these bills. But then let's quickly take a look at the importance of these particular bills. We do know that is a 5 chapters bills, and of course some of the key issues in the bill has to do with the fact that this particular bill will definitely create efficient and effective governing institution with clear and separate rules for the petroleum industry, establishes a framework for the creation of commercially oriented and profit-driven national petroleum company, enables the exploration and exploitation of petroleum resources in Nigeria for the benefit of Nigerians, liberalizes the downstream sector and fosters sustainable peace and prosperity, and provides direct social and economic benefit to host community, places Nigeria as a desired investment destination in Africa, enhances the revenue base of the Federation, while ensuring a better return on investment. Ebere, you look at the benefits here. Let me go to where I was actually struggling to get the pronunciation. Liberalize the downstream sector. Will this finally bring an end to the deregulation that has been, glamoring? Because as it stands, we've been talking about deregulation, but it's obvious that we've not actually gone into deregulation fully. So if we are to liberalize the downstream sector, will this have an instant impact on deregulation, so to say?
You see, I think it was Desmond Tutu who said that good governance is not just about handling crises and fighting fires and making laws. He said, but getting to the root cause of every challenge and solving it. Chris, let me tell you this. If you go through the benefits of this bill that has been passed, if properly executed, it really measured on, like you said, deregulation, unbundling, NNPC, then benefits to the host communities. I don't know if I didn't read well or if I didn't understand well, but I was expecting an emphasis on, refining our products. I'm going to be specific in my contribution. Anytime we talk about job creation, benefits to the host communities, everybody is just looking at what will be coming to our federation account, to the local government, to the state governments, the percentages the communities will get. And most often you agree with me that there are some cabals in these communities that get to this money, or the money gets to them, and the poor ones in the same village will still forage and scavenge for daily bread without any direct benefit. What am I saying? I want to see, why are we not paying attention to enforce or implement the existing laws that made it possible or made it clear that we should or we can refine our products in Nigeria? Chris, there are 2,000 byproducts of crude oil. 2,000, including the Brazilian hair. This hair, this long bone straight now, where don't scatter marriages. this hair where don't send some women to prison because they stole it from supermarkets and all that. Because it's made from polymer. If you refine our product here, you're going to have such products. You're going to be having other materials. You're going to have engineers of all cadres, electrical, chemical, whatever, working in these refineries, creating viabilities and commercial activities in the host countries, giving them direct employment, to the sons and daughters without bureaucracy. And when you put all these things together, you now discover that companies like Toyota that shunned us again and went to Toyota, a lot of other product
went to Ghana.
Went to Ghana, would be coming here as a direct employment benefit. Then going back to that waste, we have a lot of laws already when it comes to when it relates to petroleum industry, and we have not seen enforcement. Tony was very emphatic. Is it going to be enforced or executed? Didn't Yemi Osibanjo, professor in bracket, didn't he go to Ogoniland for the cleaning up? And you want me to start jumping up now because they say it will benefit the host communities? Has Ogoni been cleaned up? Me Tony talking.
Yeah, Tony, let's let's say where Ebere just passed the baton to you now, talking about the host community, talking about the host community that should actually be benefited, and of course we do know what is happening in the host communities that actually have all these oil companies and of course installation in their community, in their backyard. Some of them do not even have access to drinking water. They can't go to farm. They don't have the fresh fish that should be coming, from the waters, are not readily available. And they are the host community. They have oil. God has blessed them with that resources, oil in that community. So will this bill now, this petroleum industry bill, will it have that immediate effects? And when we talk about host communities, is it just those communities that produces oil, that have oil installation, or are we looking at where oil pipeline passes through? Because there are, I think they export crude oil. It passes through from different town to Kaduna refinery. So when we talk about host community, will we also include those communities where oil pipeline passes through?
Well, they're all included. But before I answer that question, there's one logical question we need to ask ourselves. You are coming to a community, and what you are coming to do in that community is dangerous to their health, to their livelihood. Is it not right for you to make sure that part of your responsibility, apart from the social responsibility, is to first of all take care of the people that are on that land? It's a normal thing that we're supposed to take. We shouldn't wait. You see, there are some things that I believe when people are saying there should be a law for this, the law of nature has already made it so. That you are coming to a place, I know these people are already indigenous of that place. And what you are coming to do there is dangerous to their health. And you wanted to take this thing out from their land, export, make money, and live and develop the nature. And this money is not being plowed back to their communities. So I believe that first, our government, our leaders doesn't have the love of their citizens at heart. In some advanced country or in a sane society, such a thing will not happen. Because you first of all say, okay, within these people, it's either you relocate them to a safer place, or you provide an alternative. But this shows these are the agitations that the Niger Delta started some years back during the Kensarawiwa, even before Kensarawiwa. But what are we talking about today? We are still talking about the same thing. As long as I and Tony, my opinion concerned, this bill was just passed, well, just to please the stakeholders. But the implementation, even some of them that like a village just said, cleaning of the Ogoni land and other areas, even the gas flying they talk about, how far have they gone? What is this report so far? Still go to Bayelsa, Rivers, Kola Kingdom, all those areas.
They're still flaring gas.
Which
is dangerous to health.
Of course.
It's not done any other part.
Go to any
other part of the world.
So the problem is, it's not about just coming out to say, yeah, if we pass the PIB law, we've done this, we've done that. What are the mechanisms, check and balances that is put in place to make sure that this thing action is taken immediately? But they'll still tell you, well, this thing is being passed. We are going to the stakeholders. They have to take the president for his assent. Then they have to set up a committee. I know there's going to be a committee again because Nigerian likes committee
and the CONCOM.
And when the committee will now sit, they will now will take another 2 years. I can assure you, if all things work well, maybe after 2023, we can see the execution of this bill.
Well, I'm very sure.
But Chris, my belief is that the host communities and their representatives should stand firm and make sure that what they agreed is well executed.
Anyway, that's just it. That's why we will now have a law. By the time the president signs it into that, it now becomes a law.
Yes, because
so
until now, the companies down there, they have been relating with the host communities on corporate social responsibility level, as if they are doing them favor. And that's why these people have been agitating. But with this bill, it becomes a law that, hey, for you to do this, because what they have been doing, once they meet the standards of the Ministry of Environment on pollution and all that, then they will go and have a separate meeting with the local chiefs, decide how they settle them. Then the other people who have been drinking ogogoro on the street will now pick cutlass and say, I no agree, this is my land. Then the next thing, you bring the military or the police to bundle them out of their father's land, and it becomes a case.
Billy, another thing that I just want to add is that the CSO, this is time they need to work. Once the president passed this into bill, the civil society organization and other unions and other stakeholders to make sure that they are not. You see, one thing about our CSO at times, when I look at them, when I look at their activities, they are so much a little bit. Only few you have some environmentalist CSO that really champion some causes. But when it comes to politics, you find a lot of CSO, even during the time for election, you see a lot of groups monitoring election. But there are some other areas that we need to have a lot of CSO working, championing the cause of these communities, so that at the end of the day, they'll call the attention of the government and the data. And also the stakeholders. The stakeholders from that region should also make sure that, this is what we have been waiting for. We must stand that this thing is being executed.
All right, let's just leave it at that. It's an unfolding and developing story that we'll keep, looking into it and see how this particular bill would definitely bring to the fore all the benefits that comes with it. At least the power that is solely on the NDDC and some other, some other related offices within the oil-producing states would definitely be able to, hold the government and the multinational oil companies accountable when it comes to implementation. And we do also hope that more international companies will come in to build refineries in Nigeria, because this bill is actually making provision for all of that. All right, this is still Good Governance Radio, and of course we are taking a look at the passage of the petroleum industry bill by the both chambers of the National Assembly yesterday. Yes, just as my colleague here highlighted, the uproar that greeted it, and of course the bottleneck that some of the senators had to actually suppress before that bill could be passed has been highlighted here. So we just hope that the implementation will be swift, so that those that are really affected by these God-given resources that are supposed to better our life will definitely get that relief. All right, let's go for this short break, and when we return, we'll definitely take you to another very, very important topic right here on the Speak Out. Of course, studio line is 0913-023-6602. Please do stay with us.
Good Governance Radio.
Your online radio. The new online radio that makes you happy.
The Good Governance Radio. You are listening to GGR, Good Governance Radio. Stay with us.
All right, we are glad to have you rejoin us. This is still your online radio, Good Governance Radio. And of course, we're reaching you live from our studios right here. And of course, you can join a conversation with us at www.governanceradio.com.ng. And of course, we are on YouTube at Good Governance Radio, and our Facebook our live is at Good Governance Radio. You can send us your contribution on the program. Yes, yesterday morning, a lot of us woke up with the news that Yoruba activist Sunday Igboho's house was being attacked by as at yesterday morning. When this particular news came out, it was unknown gunmen, armed men, and all of that. And of course, as the story kept developing, just last night, we got a report finally that there were some allegations and the fingers were being appointed at different groups that could have masterminded the attack. A lot of people said it was the Nigerian army, where the army came out to swiftly debunk that particular allegation. But then the DSS yesterday, finally came up with a release that it was the DSS that actually carried out that operation at Chief Sunday Igboho house. I think his full name is Sunday Adeyemi, the Odua Republic activist and all of that. Yes, the Department of State Services, DSS, on Thursday said a team of joint security operative raided the home of Yoruba Nation agitator Sunday Adeyemo, aka Igboho, in Ibadan, arresting 13 of his armed men. DSS spokesman Dr. Peter Ofunaya disclosed this in a briefing with journalists late yesterday. He said the raid was based on intelligence that Igboho was stockpiling arms to cause chaos within the region. Of course, unconfirmed reports also has that some messages on the phone of IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu was what actually led to that invasion by the DSS. Tony, in the space of 4 days, yes, not up to a week, we have two, agitators, leaders of the Yoruba, of the Odua, the Yoruba nation, and of course the Igbo nation agitators are being captured. Okay, one has been captured and one has been declared wanted by the Nigerian state. What do you make of this sudden, sudden flexing of muscle by the federal government when it comes to trying to, silence these people that have been very, very vocal in terms of what they want?
Well, Chris, I will not agree with that, your submission. One, Nnamdi Kanu jumped bail.
Okay.
And once you jump bail legally, they need to look for you. So it wasn't a fresh issue on.
Well, we do know what actually led to. There was a case. There was a scenario that led to him being arrested, and he jumps bail. So I was just taking the background story.
You see, the truth is that when you are trying to agitate for something, and you try to make it to create a kind of a mood or a society that become tensed to the state of the nation, the government needs to, they've tried all they could to some extent to, not arresting or bringing back Nnamdi Kanu. That's the issue first now. But the issue is that come and face what you are charged with. Then two. And secondly, the reason why this agitation is going on hasn't been solved. It's another issue. But relating it to Sunday Igboho is just one individual among the activists that wants to say we want the Dual Republic. And based on some of his antecedents that happened during Ifemodareke, to me, that is a communal clash. But when you talk about Nigerian nation, he said that he has not done anything wrong for his house to be invaded. You can come out to say certain things, but the government has intelligence reports. But because at times we don't always believe our government, because we believe that they speak from the other side of the mouth. But I believe that what happened must have been something that maybe, because one, we know that on Saturday there is a rally that is coming up.
A proposed rally
coming up. And I believe that there's some other part of people that are against the rally that are saying that don't dare come to Lagos. If you dare come with you and your people, it will be bloodshed. But that is another angle of the whole story. But I believe that if they have invited Sunday Igboho based on intelligence from the government, maybe we will have.
Do you think he will have honored that invitation?
That is another question to ask. He will have attended the invitation? That's another question for another day. But because some of us or some of these so-called activists, or they believe that yes, we can ignore. You see, there's nothing honoring that when you say, if you know you have your hands are clean, or you know you don't have any bad intention, if you are invited, go and explain yourself. But because some of these things has become norms, that when you are invited, only this find out that they will go there and say, yes, I am, here I am. What do you want to ask me? So, but the mode at which the operation was carried out is another thing we want to discuss. But to me, I believe that based on what must have transpired, based on intelligence report and other evidence, they believe they are more professional in the way to handle some situation. But I am not too pleased about the bloodletting that.
Okay. Let me come to you. Do you agree that the government were patient enough with Igboho, and he was actually riding on the patience of the state to actually, exhibit this kind of on this kind of lawless behavior? Because it happened in Ondo State, Akure. I watched the rally that took place in Akure. It was a well-attended rally, mammoth crowd. It happened in Ekiti. So to him, I think he was getting all the hypes and, of course, everything. And he feels that, I've gotten to a stage whereby I can challenge the state. And how would you say, what was the damning consequence when it comes to the amount of exhibit that was displayed by the DSS yesterday, the weapons and every other thing? How damning could that be in terms of, the implication of all of that being found in his residence?
The South African elders said that when you want to fight fire, say do not wear a skirt made of dry grasses. First of all, I want to appreciate the DSS for once for putting, that's what I told you people the other day here about fake news, social media. Once you admit responsibility, a lot of things will rest. Like you rightly said, up until midday yesterday, we were still hearing unknown gunmen invaded Sunday Igboho's house. DSS came and said, it's not on gunmen, no men, or known men gun, or gunmen,
unknown men, and whatever.
Now we, DSS, now we do it. That's how it should be. And everybody rested. Then in the night, pictures and videos began to pop up, weapons, charms. They even said it was the resistance put up by the guard that enabled him to escape. Now, for admitting that responsibility, kudos. That is sincerity on their part. But you see, I just gave out one of my proverbs before now. I said, good governance is not about fighting crisis. Tony asked a question. The completion of that proverb is that it is about getting to the root. How many people are you going to fight in Nigeria? One thing, when Nnamdi Kanu, because you merged the issue together, when Nnamdi Kanu was arrested, apart from some pockets of biased, sentimental individuals, nobody really said, why did you arrest him? But they have been asking, telling Mr. President, telling the DSS, telling the police and the military, one thing, you have proven to Nigerians and the whole world that fighting Boko Haram and bandits can never be as difficult as you have made it to be. If you can track this guy down, Nnamdi Kanu was not traveling with Nigerian passport. When he was arrested, he was traveling with British passport. You track him down. But Kumi, I'm coming to the Igboho, but Kumi could Gumi.
I think I'm not going to allow you to leave Gumi. If you are bringing in Gumi, I'll also give you a question on Gumi before you go back.
No, you can give me. Wait, okay, let me come back. You can
I want you to go. I want you to tackle the Igbo's question.
Now, you started by merging their cases. They said these two agitators.
Yes.
First of all, Igboho, if I must stay on that, what did he do? That's why I wanted to connect it to Nnamdi Kanu. The federal government was in a hurry to declare IPOB a terrorist group when they didn't pick any arms. You said you watched Sunday Igboho in Ekiti and
the rallies.
Did he attack anyone? Did he wield any weapon? The Yugoslavians and the Vian that unbundled from USSR, did anybody arrest them for lifting their voice? However, if the pictures we saw yesterday, the weapons were really found in his house, I think it's taking a new dimension.
What do you mean by we're really found in his house? Can you expatiate on that a little bit? We're really found in his house.
Yes, I am going to say this with every sense of responsibility. For instance, you cannot declare a man without weapon. You cannot accuse the man of a treasonable felony. But they did that to Nnamdi Kanu when we couldn't find any weapon around him. People keep saying that he invaded Bell. Abaribe had to forfeit 100 million naira. Why did you invade the house of a man whose bail was still valid with the military? So why I said this is, if those pictures were really emanating from there, because trust is an expensive commodity that is diminishing. That's why you stop me from relating Gumi. I have seen bandits carrying AK-47 and weapons. Gisting with the law enforcement.
I deliberately tried to, put a stop from going there, because we're talking about agitators here. Yes. We're talking about a man who is agitating for, Oduduwa nation, and we're talking about a man who is agitating for what's it called?
IPOB.
And
I'm wondering why.
So I wouldn't know what state Gumi is agitating for. That's why I do not want us to go into that.
He's not agitating for anything. That's why you just give me a few seconds. I will be done. I said DSS unleashed their full force on Igboho yesterday. The military, DSS, the federal might have unleashed their own powers on Nnamdi Kanu. And we are now saying that the people who are not agitating anything, we just agreed now that the host communities, oil companies, Niger Delta, their farmland and everything, they have been destroyed. The bandits in the bush, they are not agitating for anything. And we are peacefully pampering and negotiating with them. And I'm beginning to wonder if Sunday Igboho could receive this kind of attack yesterday. What are really his offenses? If we put his offenses, if any, on the scale of comparison with what the bandits are doing.
Tony, let me put the question to you straight. Now, because Ebere would really want us to digress and go into...
No, I'm not digress. I'm just shaking the table up and down so that some things will be falling off.
Tony, what do you make of this? You know,
Ebele,
inclusion that Ebere is bringing in terms of the bandit.
That is what I want
was because in what we heard, bombs were not thrown at Igboho's house. And we're talking about the way, because Ebere, let's just get this straight.
Okay.
This will be some kind of disrespect to the efforts of our military in terms of tackling the insurgency. Were bombs thrown at Igboho house? These people were captured.
The military has never admitted that the bandits are insurgents.
Just 2 days ago, about 70 bandits were killed.
They have not. You are talking about Boko Haram members.
Bandits.
They have not admitted that they are insurgents. These bandits, na grandma.
Tony, let's hear you, please.
We are talking about it's your opinion you are trying to, but I'm also trying to look at the other side of it.
Okay.
You see, there are two different things, two different angles to the issue. There's an individual that you can see, Nnamdi, physical. He's a leader of a group.
Living in a city.
Are you with me? Sunday Igboho is a single person trying to. But if you are trying to look at the bandit and the Boko Haram, it's non-conventional war. When they are trying to chase Shekara with their leaders, they were trying to pick up their leaders. Shekara with them. Sometimes he said he's dead. This scenario is different from Igboho and Nnamdi Kanu. So the way they will treat Igboho and Nnamdi Kanu issues will be different from the way they are handling the bandits and the kidnappers and the Boko Haram. So you cannot marry the two together. But one thing I want to say is that every situation has its own solution and solution to handle.
The relativity is that they found weapon in his house. The people you found carrying this weapon.
At the same time, the president, when we want to reflect on the president order for anybody found with AK-47 should be shot. Do you know that Igboho and his cohort and all the people that were arrested with those AK-47 were supposed to have been shot?
Well, have you shot the people you negotiated?
2 days ago, 70 bandits were killed.
You must have been following the news, the trend, what our gallant military officers are doing. Then secondly, if you look at these agitators, the agitators they were talking about, some of the Afenifere, some Yoruba elders, they are not in support of what they are doing because they know what it will
implication.
So there are times that when you are doing something and you don't have the support of your people, you find out that what you are trying to do is this sponsor. Somebody was asking a question today in one of our stations at radio. It was asked, where does these people got this money from? What are they doing for a living?
You saw the fleet of cars in Igboho's house. Compound.
What are they doing? What are they doing for a living? One of the ladies on air was asked that, if what these people are doing, just making them to live this kind of life, he would have just dropped this talking on money till I wake up 6 and 7 o'clock and said, I better go and join this thing. He was making analysis to a friend that is a neighbor, that you see the guy just inside the house 247 doing something on this thing. Before, if you see the guy 247 is on generator, that shit that goes to work, but at times you must find out that some things can be sponsored. And if the issue of the bandit, the kidnappers, and their own issue, we're talking about a certain reason why they are reason, and which the government is tackling headlong. Another one is coming up, which is the IPOB, which we are talking about from the birth of the war, civil war, by the Biafra war. And somebody is now coming to say, after the massacre said, and still the agitation is still there. What are we talking about now? We are talking about different issues, different scenario, and it's being tackled according to
how the situations were run.
So I'm not saying that the government should do more, because what we really wanted in this country is peace. And the peace, we have to get the peace if the government should listen to
the only way you achieve lasting peace is through equity. If you go on social media now and other conventional news platforms, the kind of celebration from the North. Okay, remember that the North came and placed a bounty of 100 million on Nnamdi Kanu before he was arrested. And I engaged somebody yesterday. I said, the way you are celebrating the arrest of the attack on Igboho's house and the arrest of Nnamdi Kanu, if you have released the same energy in giving us the right information about how we can fight Boko Haram and bandits in the north, maybe we won't be here. So that's why I'm trying to merge my statement. Is this about tribe? Is this about is this no longer about
well,
one
this does not have tribe correlation. This does not have a tribe correlation.
I know that because two sitting governors.
Chris,
yes,
just a minute.
Yes,
you can see the effort the government are putting in fighting this
bandits
and Boko Haram. You can see the much investment buying ammunitions, and this is not something that just started yesterday. So you like I said, a conventional war, you know your enemies. These are not
guerrilla war that's
so you cannot compare the way and manner at which this can be come. The Igboho issue now calling for Oduduwa Republic is something that is physical. You are seeing those behind it.
Okay, is there anything constitutionally wrong in calling for Oduduwa
Republic? You made reference to Yugoslavia and but now let me just
at which is another thing.
Yes, let me just take you to the most recent agitation in Europe, in Spain. The Catalonian people were agitating, as in about 2 years ago. There was massive protests in the city of Catalonia where they are also seeking for their independence. Do you recall that some of the leaders were arrested by the Spanish government, and just recently, after 2 years, that they were freed? Just about 2 weeks ago that they were freed.
Did you?
As a result of no nation, history has it that no nation will sit down and fold their hands and allow a section of that particular entity to just break out without the government of the day trying
Before
to.
the Catalonians were arrested, there were discussions that there were invitations, there were interest from the government, which they shunned. President Olusegun Obasanjo, the former president, he has been speaking. He said, President Muhammadu Buhari, there is nothing wrong for you to sit down. And I think he led by example. Remember that even when he had left office, before Yusuf Mohammed was killed, Obasanjo traveled to Maiduguri before the young man was killed. So he is saying, have you listened to these people? Do you know that at the end of the day, there may not be any need for the DSS to go to Sunday Igboho's house? Only if you can sit down. Okay, look at up till now. Okay, up till now, people are still saying Nnamdi Kanu jumped bail. How come nobody, including the judiciary, how come nobody is making reference to the military and asking them why they sent python, cockroaches to the house of a man?
Did you remember the bail condition that was given to Nnamdi Kanu when he was granted bail? That he was not supposed to be in a gathering of over 10 people. And every day in his hometown, he had a crowd of people going to his father's house.
Chris,
let me take to actually converge.
Let me ask you
for violence.
Not whether but the court says
you should have sent the police.
The court said
you should have sent the police for investigation on what the gathering was all about, and not the military mind.
But he was already breaking the bail condition.
So the military was out of the fraction.
Ebele, let me ask you one question.
Yes.
I know you are a law student. I know. The question is, when you are giving all these conditions, what are you expected to do? Obey it.
I agree.
Fine. 2, when something happened, if such an act happened, would the judiciary just come and say, yeah, come, why did you need to go to Nnamdi Kanu father's house? His lawyers are there. Did they make an effort to go to the court? No. 2, you now say you escape for your life. As a learned colleague, as a learned person in making, there's a procedure if such a thing happens.
Why didn't you turn yourself in?
You see, don't let us put some sentiments in certain
things. Our own president just told us recently that when it comes to the issue of security, that the human right should take the back seat. There is nobody, if a python enters here now, as we are in this studio, Toby and Co., including you, we break this ceiling It happened to me in Bagwalada the day armed robbers came in. I never knew I could challenge Usain Bolt. So if the young man said the military invaded his house and he ran, my brother,
Ebere, just like Tony said, just like Tony rightfully said, Ebere, on what condition? Now, do you think,
Chris, please just a minute.
Yeah.
If such thing act happen,
Yes.
somebody stood in for bail for you.
Yes.
What do you think? What is supposed to be your role? Should you leave the country or go to someone that said,
or even turn yourself in to any of the security
No, Chris brought a very valid point. He said there were occasions people were converging. And I said, without violence, number one, they were not converging, they were not protesting. Number two, that was still within the circumference of the responsibility of the police. Did the police carry out an investigation and give a report that was beyond their capacity before the military came? The answer is no.
how do you know? There might be some privileged information that is not at your disposal.
When it comes to democracy and rights, it's our right to know.
I still recall
that is where we are
what
talking about
happened in the build-up to Kanu's house being invaded by the military.
Because you
and
have
what actually led
violated
to his escape.
See,
The policemen were attacked.
You know why I'm saying this?
Policemen were attacked.
Chris,
we all remember
let
what
me tell you
happened.
this, and to the listener there. I don't belong to IPOB. I've no link with Nnamdi Kanu or Igboho. But I am talking about how we can solve this problem permanently. And somebody said something on TV the other day. There are so many Nnamdi Kanus. This is an ideology. I think it was even yesterday on Journalist Hangout. You can't kill Biafra because you are arrested in Nnamdi Kanu. You cannot kill Oduduwa agitation because you invaded the Igboho's house. This is an ideology. After Muhammad Yusuf was killed, did Boko Haram stop? It metamorphosed. And we are saying, let us go back to discussions.
Ebele, listen. What is the population? What is the statistics of those who are in support of Oduduwa Republic or IPOB? Let's first of all, because they always say majority carries the vote. Okay? What is the statistics? Now, if the statistics is lower or higher than the
what do you mean by supporters? What do you mean by supporters? No,
those that are for and against.
Of recent, some few, listen, you remember that Rivers said they are not Igbos. Okay? So part of the data, they say they are not part of IPOB, they are not saying they are this. But at the end of the day, what are we talking about? We are not talking about what we are all asking for. Give us, do the right thing. And what are the right things we are talking about? Equal distribution of wealth, developmental project, and all this stuff, which everyone is talking about. But what are we talking about? During the national conference, some of these issues were being taken upon. All we need to ask is our leader. What we need to ask is, does the constitutional conference, some of these things that has been agreed by our elders, I'm not so good in Proverbs, but they said, where a man sits, an elder sits, what he sees far. Even the child climbing the tree cannot sit. The right cap chief is there. Maybe I'll give you palm wine too.
Yes.
You see, when those elders were sitting and seeing what we couldn't climb a tree to see, there was no technology then. You are a 3-year-old boy, we carry your phone and see what you are not seeing in America.
Let me split.
That's what I'm telling you.
Let me split this question.
Give your phone to your 3-year-old son.
Tony, let me split.
He will travel through technology to Japan. And they are there releasing program for me.
Ebere and Tony, let me split this question to you. I'll give the question that has to do with Igboho to Tony. I'll give the question that has to do with Nnamdi Kanu to Ebere.
Yeah.
Ebere, let's talk about the integrity of these people that are trying to fight for a nation, for the learned Igbo people that I know very well. Their integrity. Lai Muhammad came out yesterday to reel out the kind of lifestyle that Nnamdi Kanu has been living. And of course, it was obvious to some of us. We saw how he was captured. outward adornment of one of the most expensive designers in the world. That particular dress, that particular clothes that was put on by Nnamdi Kanu was valued at about $10,000 US, if I'm not mistaken, or if it was not exaggerated. But then it's a brand, an Italian, designer outfit. And we're told that he had been flying private jets and living in almost the best hotels in the world. And of course, video also surfaced where he was caught on camera with a woman in an hotel.
That was his wife.
And
whoever did that was mischievous.
Okay. And this is someone that is claiming, to be fighting for the liberation of the Igbo. Of course, subsequently, he's seeing himself as a leader. Or of course, if he gets to win, he might want to take power by whatever means and become possibly the president. Does the integrity of this person reflect on a kind of leadership quality that should be expected from someone like him?
Okay,
with the kind of life he lived.
Thank you. Maybe this is the only time for me to feel justified now, even in the eyes of people. Like I said, I have no affiliation or interest in his ideology. And let me also tell you this: when Nnamdi Kanu was released, I was in Omaha. I found my way to interview him. And one of the things I told him, that terrorism is not only when you throw bomb. Oga, you are a verbal terrorist. There's nobody that will listen to you either when you talk off air or when you talk on air that will not run for his life. As usual, he cost me. If curses were effective from people like him, maybe I wouldn't have been alive now. The young man is arrogant. I'm saying this now for anybody to hear what I'm saying. And his ideologies and agitations, they do not represent the interests of all the Igbos. That was when Tony talked about support. I wanted to get from him, what do you mean by people that support him? Are you talking about social media warlords who will come and say our leader that will never go to the street? This thing. Then coming straight to your question, you see, I don't think what the young man was putting on or whatever. An average Igbo man is industrious.
A businessman, with a known source.
I bought my first car at the age of 21. When people were clubbing in school, I would enter night bus, go to Lagos, buy computers, set up business centers,
a businessman
and all that.
A businessman, a known businessman, an hustler.
In this digital world, he could be a cryptocurrency trader, and you don't know he's making his money. So if it is about what he's putting on or his appearance, that yardstick is very weak for anybody to come up. Now, there's what all of us here in communication, we know what sedition is. We know what libation is. If you tell me this guy, an instigator is the worst enemy. If you tell me that he's causing problems from the uncensored, I can't have Nnamdi Kanu on my radio station if I have one. I can't have him on my program because I know that he's going to put the words that will come out from his mouth.
NBC will come out.
Yes, it will put me in trouble. So I'm trying to tell you that his ideologies do not represent my interest. But why I shook that table was anything where you do against rat will enter hole. Do against rabbit will enter the same hole. So that there will be peace in the jungle.
But do you know that
we started,
the size of a rat and a rabbit are different?
No, we started having problem. Thank you very much.
Yeah, because the size of a rat and a rabbit are different.
Good. Even the grass cutter is bigger. The grass cutter ran into the same hole, and we have been stoking a very light smoke. And once in a while, you go and drop palm kernel there. It will eat and be alive. All of a sudden, small rat entered. You brought poison, fare, snipe and everything, and smoked it off.
That's more more dangerous and more poisonous.
Let us be realistic. Boko Haram and bandits, they have killed more people in Nigeria, more than whatsoever Igboho and Nnamdi Kanu has done.
Nobody supports it.
Wait now. On a single day in 2019 or thereabout, 73 people were buried in a mass grave in Benue State.
Ebere,
On that day,
Ebere.
some political parties were having a good time.
Ebere, no,
And
we are not saying- Ebere,
consolidation
Ebere,
party.
just
Very,
hold
our
it.
producer is telling us our time we're running against time. And I want to quickly see as Tony, in just add this to your reaction to your. I want to also ask you the position of an average Yoruba man too. The integrity of Igboho. This is somebody that can barely make a complete sentence.
It's not
And of course,
representing-
when we
Ebere,
look at
Chris,
his
don't go further.
affluence in it, his
Ebere,
house.
don't go further. It's just representing a section, not even 0 point something percent of his own like minds. It's not representing the Yoruba race. So I would not want to say is representing us in any form. It's just representing 0.0007%, if there's anything like that, of his own like minds. So it is not representing the Yoruba race. Secondly, Ebere, what we are all saying today is that we are not saying that both the banditry act, the kidnapping, the Sunday Igboho,
Insurgency and everything
that we are happy with, but we are talking about the government should look at every situation and deal with it. And we're also talking that we need peace. And anybody that wants to express his feelings or this thing, do it in a normal constitutional way and the right way. That is just
all right. That is just it. If the government have decided to go after Igboho, as they've gone after, and they've gone after Sunday Igboho, we also do know that the Nigerian army, every time, the last time the Senate president visited an hospital in Kaduna, whereby we had almost 1,000 of our soldiers on hospital bed with one defect or the other as a result of fighting insurgency. It would be a kind of disservice if we do not see or acknowledge what the government is doing in the northeast and the north central in terms of northeast and northwest in terms of fighting insurgency.
And just 2 days
and of course,
ago, a member is representing a state house member in Zamfara State who was taking the son to Kano State was killed by bandits. So nobody should celebrate the downfall or the arrest or the punishment from any region.
I don't
we
think
are all
anybody.
in this
Yes,
together.
we're all in
And
this
like
together.
Tony said, we need peace. And
That is it.
anybody who is a factor to violence should be brought to book.
Okay, tomorrow probably we're going to continue this discussion because there's been a kind of international uproar coming from various countries. Kenya is now saying Kano was not arrested in their country, that Nigerian government sneaked into the country, and Great Britain is also in the news, for different reasons. This conversation will continue as also the story keeps developing. Ebere, thank you very much for always your words of wisdom, but of course your incisive analysis when it comes to Nigerian politics and everything. It's always a pleasure to share the same space with you.
Thank you very much. Wherever Carl was arrested, he has a case to answer, and he's back now. But like we said, as you do am to rat, do am to grass cutter.
Tony, you're always on a different planet when it comes to
I'm not
reacting to.
I'm not in a different planet, but I'm only trying to express my own opinion and the angle at which I look at issues. But all the same, let our leaders do the right thing so that we can have peace.
All right, your opinions also matters. If you can send them across here, we'll be glad to actually read them out here. Your comment is definitely one thing that we do not take for granted. Thank you very much for being part of our world today. On Monday, we'll be here same time to take you through the newspaper review and, of course, to speak out on this particular dial platform. It's still Good Governance Radio GGR. And of course, a special thanks to Toby Loba Akimbo, who has been on the console to make sure that we have a smooth transmission this morning. Thank you very much for keeping it with us to have a wonderful weekend. My name is Chris Bassi, and we are signing out.
You are listening to GGR, Good Governance Radio. Stay with us.
Computer systems are offline.
This is the Good Governance Radio.